Hi, hello, welcome back to another week and another video. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name's Alexi, and on my channel, I like to teach you how to live a happier and healthier lifestyle. Right now, we are doing a little mini cut Chronicles vlog. Wrapping up week 4, and I just want to take you through some of my smarter sweet options that I have made over this past week that have helped me stay on track through my cut with my nutrition while still being able to kind of indulge in that sweet tooth that I very much so have. Back in the day when I used to cut my calories pretty significantly, I would always become very desperate for something sweet to have, something to allow myself to indulge in, because I restricted so many things from my diet, especially since I was in such a calorie deficit. A lot of these things I've learned years ago, and I really haven't done many of them up until recently, just because I haven't had the focus in cutting my calories and putting myself in these extreme deficits and saying no to certain foods. That just hasn't been a part of my nutrition lately, because that was something that I was trying to grow out of, because it was always something that I had done, was live this very restrictive lifestyle in terms of calories, and just like the pendulum, it would swing to the other side, and it often resulted in some sort of binge or just this control or lack of control of food. So that used to be me, and then we have all this time in the middle that has now led me to where I am now. So we're bringing some of those things back, because this is the first time that I have really specifically tracked my macros and have been like very on point with it in years. So it's very interesting to me, because now I've logged all of my food and everything that has gone in my mouth for the past month, and I think that's the longest that I've done it since I was obsessed with it. It's weird, but it's good and it's going well, and because I took the time to unlearn all of these things, these thoughts, these beliefs that I had around food, and I was able to fix and nurture my relationship with food and myself, I feel like I'm able to do this again without it taking control of my life. You know, it's again all about finding what works for you. Last year, or was that 2 summers ago? 2 summers ago, my number one goal was, can I cut without tracking my calories? And I did. I mean, I consistently ate the same thing every day during the week, and then I would like occasionally go out to eat on the weekends, or like have a few drinks here and there, or indulge on a sweet over the week, and it was perfectly fine for me. I was still able to reach the goal that I wanted and lose body fat. But now I want to go a little bit further. We want to lose a little bit more. We want to be a little bit more specific, and we want it to happen faster. I've come to the conclusion also, so little mini update. Before I get into the rest of this video, I just want to touch base and kind of let you know what my plan was for the rest of the cut. Daniel is doing his cut for 6 weeks. So I am being very strict and spot on for 6 weeks as well. It is a lot easier when you have someone and you have that accountability partner, but I don't want to be really strict for really long, and I want to, again, like last year, be able to go out to eat, have meals with friends, socialize, have a few drinks. I want to be able to go out and do those things. So after my 6 weeks, and after Daniel's 6 weeks, he wants to have a cheat meal. So I was like, you know what? Your girl's also going to be having a cheat meal, because I have not had a cheat meal. I have not been quote unquote cheating. Again, I want to use these terms very loosely. I want to have a cheat meal, and then I want to slowly start to incorporate those types of activities back into my life and my diet, and still be able to have this lean cut physique, but still be able to do those things. So right now is kind of just like the ramp up process. I want to get there really fast, and then I want to work on being able to maintain the cut physique. Will I possibly be a little bit heavier or hold a little bit more body fat once I'm consistently at that point? Yeah, because I mean, going out to eat, drinking, those are going to be a lot of excess calories that I'm not getting right now. It's another reason why I chose not to do that right now, is because I know how much calories that typically packs, and I knew that that would get me to where I want to be faster if I just cut those things out, and they're not necessary to me. At the 6 week mark, I will be enjoying Daniel wants pizza, and you know, pizza and ice cream and beer. Yes, that sounds like the perfect cheat meal. That actually, ironically enough, used to be my cheat meal. And this is what I'm talking about. Again, I'm getting rambly because I can get very rambly. When I was in a severe deficit, and I would be 100% all throughout the week, and then I would have one day where it was a cheat meal, and I just let myself have what I wanted. But it was always the same thing. It was always a beer or two slices of pizza, and then your girl would down a pint of Ben & Jerry's in the car, like in the parking lot with a spoon. I don't think I could do that anymore. For me now, when I look back at that, like clearly that's a not good relationship with food, because I would restrict all throughout the week and then binge. Ironically enough, that's my cheat meal, but those are just the things that I miss the most when I diet. Like after I did my show, on the way home from my show that night, I got pizza, ate it in the car. And then when I got home with my best friends, we all had ice cream, because that's just what we would do together. We would just eat pizza together and then eat ice cream together. So like that's what we did the night of my show, and it was great. Those are just my personal foods that I miss the most if I'm like dieting or in a deficit, or just being mindful about how many calories I'm eating. Those are always the things I want. Also, I want another cheat meal. I've been looking for good hot wings in Seattle for like a really long time, and there is a place, it looks like a dive bar. There's like this banner thing on the outside. It's like country something kind of bar, right? I mean the name, and it just says wings on it. I'm like, that's the kind of place I need to go to try some wings. So that's another thing on the list of food to eat when I start having that like weekly cheat meal. I don't even like calling it a cheat meal. I'm just not tracking my calories for that one meal, because I want to allow myself to eat the foods that I enjoy the taste of, and be able to eat those foods with people that I love and socialize and communicate. And that's a huge thing. Is again, when I was in that negative place with food, it was more or less just like eating it because I never allowed myself to have it, and it almost becomes secret. Like you almost start doing those things on your own because you're so 100% all of the time, and you have this image of you being 100% all the time, or this thought or this belief that you have to be. So then when you go to eat those things, you almost feel like you have to hide it. It's very messed up, I know, but I know a lot of people struggle with this as well, and like that's what I hope to help other people maybe see or work through, have a better understanding of, and know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and you can get on from that or past that. It takes a lot of damn work and years. You have to be willing to commit to that, but if you do, you can get to the other side. And it feels amazing to be able to be in this place with food now, where I do see it as like it's something that I enjoy to do. It's social. It's part of my life. Why would I cut some things out? And I hate how much some people in this space and this industry make it seem like you can't be fit or be lean or have those things without having those things. Of course, if you want to do the extreme of competing in something, or you want to challenge yourself, like yeah, you might have to temporarily cut those things out, but it doesn't make them necessarily bad. And I don't have this belief of good foods and bad foods. There are foods that will get you closer to your goals and foods that will get you further away from your goals. And it's up to you to decide, well, do I want to eat this right now? Does this align with what I want, my purpose, my goal, or does it not? It doesn't necessarily mean that it's good or bad. I'm gonna stop rambling and I'm gonna talk about the sweets that I made. First, I made protein balls, and this is something I did a few years ago and I forgot about them until now, and so I made them again. I followed a recipe, but I also made it my own. So I will put the recipes for what I'm making in the box down below, but the protein balls, I honestly truly just winged it, because my priority was, okay, how can I make this not high in carbs and fat, or very equal and equivalent to the protein? Because of course, being in a deficit, my number one priority is protein, and that's usually the hardest to get in, the hardest to sneak in without fat and carbs, unless you're eating things like meat most of the time. So I threw in some oats, casein protein, some flaxseed, mixed her up, added some nut butter. I thought I would take it upon myself, like I always think to do in baking. Not all the times it ends out well. Luckily, this wasn't actually baking. If this was actually baking, it probably would not have ended out out well. I can't speak. Because side note, I'm gonna detour. Wow, really rambly today. I one time made peanut butter cookies because like I love peanut butter cookies. They're one of my favorite cookies. They're my favorite holiday cookie with a little Hershey kiss. Okay, besides the point. I made peanut butter cookies and I thought to myself, this was when I was learning about baking. I love peanut butter. I want these to taste more like peanut butter. Let me just add more peanut butter to it. If you bake, you know, don't mess with the recipe, because one thing you mess with and it could come out all wrong. And I learned very well that day that if you put just extra peanut butter in your peanut butter cookies and then you bake them and they come out and you go to bite into it, it just crumbles in your hand. It absolutely crumbles. So I learned my lesson that way, but this wasn't baking, so that was besides the point. You'll see why I'm bringing this up later on. But I added some nut butter, 75 grams, and then a little bit of vanilla, and then I added maple syrup as a sweetener. You could use something like honey if you wanted to. I mixed her all up, and as I was mixing her up, I realized like, oh, this is really dry. I'm definitely going to need some more peanut butter. So I added some more peanut butter. So I added another 75 grams of that nut butter. So I added a full half cup of peanut butter to the whole thing. And then I just added almond milk. I was truthfully just kind of adding it until I saw that it was the consistency that I wanted, because I needed to be able to roll and shape them into balls, and 100 milliliters of almond milk worked out pretty well. I kind of followed along a recipe, but didn't add a lot of the ingredients that were in there, and changed the amounts of things like the maple syrup, obviously, and I had added a little bit more casein. And then I added chocolate chips because, you know, you need a little bit of chocolate chip in there. You gotta have a little bit of sweetness, you know? And then I mixed her all up, put her in a bowl, chilled in the fridge for an hour, and then I put the bowl on top of the scale just to see what the total weight was, and then I divided it by the serving. So I made sure that each individual ball weighed, I think it was like 25 grams, so that every single time I ate one, the calories were pretty consistent. And then MyFitnessPal has a meal option where, no, not meal, sorry. MyFitnessPal has a recipe option. So you can actually go in and add your own recipes. So it's really easy for me to add this recipe to MyFitnessPal so that I can use this recipe and each individual protein ball in MyFitnessPal to track my calories accordingly. And I actually made them again, and it's really easy to just go right into the recipe and modify the amounts of things, because I kind of changed the recipe a little bit. It didn't come out as good. I was trying to, again, like just put more protein in it, so it didn't come out as good, but it's really easy to just update it in MyFitnessPal to reflect that. Also, what I did the second time that I made them was, instead of just throwing the chocolate chips in, I kind of cut the chocolate chips up with a knife, so they were smaller, more like flakier pieces of chocolate chips. That way it's just like more evenly spread throughout the protein ball. I think that was an upgrade, but I shouldn't have messed with probably anything else. Each individual ball was about 111 calories, 5.5 grams of protein, 7 grams of carbs, 7 grams of fat, and then there was also a gram of fiber in there, which was really cool. Really quick, easy, convenient snack. Good high protein, high quality food snack. So that's another thing, is I'm able to indulge in my sweet tooth here because of the chocolate and the sweetness. It indulges me, but now I'm also getting good quality things like oats. I also have flaxseed in there. I used casein protein in those balls. It made it a little bit cakier, so whey protein might also be a little bit different as well, but I liked that. Nice slow digesting protein. It just will keep me full and satiated and also satisfy that sweet tooth. This is why I would personally opt for something like this versus going and eating ice cream, even though I know I could fit the ice cream in my macros. Because what happens when I eat the ice cream, I know for myself, is one, I don't feel satiated after it because it's just like highly processed food, very sugary, highly palatable. It satisfies me in that moment, but then I'm like, actually I don't feel satiated, and I often want more because the serving has to be a lot smaller because it is so high in calories. And then often what I find happens to myself is I start to crave it more. Like the next day I might want it, or the next couple of days I might want it more. So for me personally, being really strict with myself right now, it's easier for me to just tell myself no. I know I'm not saying no forever. I'm just saying no for a certain period of time because I have a specific goal that I'm trying to reach. I'm not saying no because it's a bad food. I'm not saying no because I'm not allowed to have it. I'm saying no because I am making the decision that I don't want it. I'd rather have my goals. That's it. And then the next thing I made was protein brownies, and these were very good. I am making them again this weekend. They were made with sweet potatoes. I've never done this before, so this is the first time I've done this. I made protein brownies before in the past, but I didn't make them with sweet potatoes, so this was really fun. So we had some cocoa powder, protein powder, again, nut butter, same amount as the protein balls, and then I did a cup of sweet potato, a tablespoon of stevia, and I just mixed it up. This was so easy. It was like 4 ingredients, I think. I mixed it up, of course, until it was at the consistency that I wanted. The sweet potato looked a little stringy in there, which I wasn't sure about, but it ended up totally being fine. And then I put these in a cupcake tin. So I greased the pan, and I greased all of the cupcake things, which I did not need to do, but that's okay. And then again, same thing like the protein balls. I put it on top of the scale so that I could see how much I was taking out of the bowl, so that I could make sure that every single little muffin tin was, again, exactly the same amount. And then I put them in the oven. I was gonna put the chocolate chips on top in the middle of the baking process, but forgot to. So this is like at the very last minute. I just threw them in there, left them in for another minute. It melted it. I smeared it around like icing, and then I let it harden. So it was like a hardened chocolate shell on the top. It took me, I think it was 12 minutes was the bake time. Again, I will put this recipe in the box below. This I followed. Protein brownie has a lot more calories than the balls. This is something I had to be mindful at the end of the day to make sure I had the calories to fit it in, but it was so satiating because I'm eating sweet potato, so I'm actually getting nutrients and I'm getting fiber, and I feel very good after I eat it, but it's still chocolatey, so I still get that little chocolate taste that your girl needs at the end of the night. I told you I like my sweets at night. In one brownie, 250 calories, 15.8 grams of carbs, 15.6 grams of fat, and then 12.5 grams of protein. A little hefty on the calories. Yeah, this could be considered a meal for some people, but delicious. And I can always cut it in half. Like the last night there was one left, and Daniel and I cut it in half and only ate half of it. So, I mean, even if you were to cut it in half, or you have smaller cupcake tins, you can kind of make the calories to be how you want depending on how many servings you make. That's why I like these things. That's what I got for you today. I just wanted to show you some good alternatives to the sweet foods that you might want while you're focusing on being in a calorie deficit. These could also serve as just healthy snacks throughout the day. So you need help hitting your protein, have a little protein ball. You need something to tide you over before it's time to eat, have a protein ball. We went on a hike, we brought protein balls. You can use these for so many different things in your life. You can put so many different types of ingredients in here. You can really mold it and shape it to be how you want it to be, just like the super shake, right? Here's the blueprint, here's the idea, but create it to be your own. Make it your own in a way that tastes good to you and in a way that supports you based on your nutrition, your diet, and your goals. Without making this video any longer, because I wasn't gonna make it a long video, but then I got rambly. I don't know. Do you like when I get rambly? Do you want to hear me talk? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like food videos like this, if you want to see more food videos like this, smash the thumbs up button. I've got another idea for you, so stay tuned because I'll sprinkle it in one of the next vlogs. Another good nighttime sweet. I made it last night. This again has been another staple in my life. It's called a mug cake. You can Google it if you want to, but if you want to see what my mug cake looks like, then I'll show you in a future upcoming vlog. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for following along my cut journey. I've got a little surprise for you next week, and it's not a good one, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
You stole my heart of gold after my silver soul. Can you